This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We got today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Yes, we do, and we've got sweet baby James joining us. He is our social media host, and we make you a big part of the show, and he does it by sharing your email. James.
Yes, so sweet, so sweet. Now, you can watch us on over 219 stations across this country on the American Forces Network and on our social media channels where you can go and like and subscribe to our content. Now, if you really want to find out where we are in your neck of the woods, go to dailyflashshow.com and click on where to watch, or even send a comment to me, Mitch, or Andrea. Do it at flash@dailyflashshow.com. Now, I have a question of the day for you that you guys can comment on. Would you like to date a celebrity in private or
in public?
Like somebody famous or somebody private?
Somebody famous in private or public.
Oh, would you rather date someone famous
Or not famous? Is that
or
what you're
totally not famous? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, the fame part of it. Yeah, that's
You
interesting.
get into it, you get a lot of free stuff, but they get a lot of free stuff. You get to be tagged along.
Comes with a price, right?
100%. I think you hear more and more about it. If you are a nobody and you're dating somebody, you're not going to be a nobody. They're going to find out everything about you, right?
Yes,
That's true.
And you and I have both done the red carpet stuff, and it's amazing how discarded the boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse becomes when you're walking down the red carpet. Like, get out of the shot! I just want him!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
They
I'm
do
like
not care,
mortified for those people. Yeah.
I think, well, now with social media, I think it's different than it was, say, 20 years ago.
That's true.
So, you would say, I would like to be friends with somebody famous. I don't know if I'd
It's just you get all the good stuff. What show was that? It was a show.
Entourage.
Entourage, there you go.
Yes, Entourage. Yeah, based on Marky Mark.
Yeah. Mark
Yeah,
Wahlberg.
I wouldn't be out with it. I want to be famous too. There you go.
You do want to be?
So you wouldn't want to date someone famous. You'd want to be famous.
Yeah, I would date them. I would date a famous person and keep me out there. Don't make me a secret. I'm not a side piece or an accessory.
Okay, so if you were to date someone famous, would you want everybody to know, or would you want to keep it quiet?
I want everybody to know. I want the free tickets. I want the free.
There's part of that because, it's not going to work out. First of all. You're a nobody and there's somebody.
True.
But it's the next person you dated, yada yada, that sort of thing. And we were talking about Tom Brady, and it apparently even affects him with his new wife, that sort of thing. And I go, "You're Tom Brady, dude.
Right?
Giselle just been married to you."
Yeah, exactly. But it does give you a little bit of cachet, right? So let's say James was dating Kim Kardashian and it didn't work out.
Why Kim?
Well, I don't know. Who would you like to date famous?
Let's take Rihanna. I'll do Rihanna. Okay.
Let's say you dated Rihanna for a couple of years.
Can I have Salma Hayek?
Yes. Yes. And it didn't work out for either of you, right? 2 years into it. You have power and prestige.
That's it.
To us normal girls who say, "Oh my God, you dated her? You
Why
dated
would somebody
Salma
so
Hayek?"
important and famous date that person? There must be something about you
Yeah.
get it, no matter what.
Exactly.
You're right.
I'll take it.
Well, think about even friendships. Kim Kardashian was a nobody until she was best friends with Paris Hilton. Remember that?
That's true.
She was
a nobody.
Then
and
there's
now,
this thing with Ray J.
She was a butt.
That is
She had the body, but she was a nobody. But
That's true. Where can people go, James, to answer this question? Confusing as it may be.
They can go to our social media channels, every one of them, Daily Flash, or in dailyflashshow.com. Okay.
Okay, very good.
All right.
He's blushing. You just can't tell.
He's sweating. Look at him.
sweating. Rihanna, really? Okay. So you guys, park tickets at Disney have gone up again.
It's no surprise.
Yeah.
Right?
Every year.
I mean, it is so expensive to go to these parks. Many are looking for a few simple hacks to enjoy Disney without having to pay full price for a park ticket. The New York Post recently shared a few tips from Travel and Leisure to enjoy Disney on a budget. These are some interesting ideas. Many of the restaurants at Disney resorts do not require a park ticket. Diners can get the chance to meet and greet some of their favorite characters by just going to the restaurants at the resorts.
Oh, at the resort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And even we have Saratoga Springs or Disney
Right.
Springs.
Disney
right?
Springs.
yeah.
Yep, Disney Springs is next on my list. It's a great place to shop, dine, enjoy entertainment. From House of Blues to Raglan Road to Cirque du Soleil, you can get tickets for shows. It's open to the public, offers free parking. That's nice. Bowling at Splitsville. You've even got dine-in movies at the AMC Theater. Lots to do there. And oftentimes they'll have character meet and greets at Disney Springs.
And parking is pretty easy to get into
Yes,
Disney Springs as well.
yes, and that's nice because it is free. At least it still is free. You can also check out Animal Kingdom with a walk around
really?
the lodge.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know this one either. If you dine at the Sanaa, I hope I'm saying that right, in the Kidani Village area, you might catch a glimpse of a giraffe or a zebra wandering by the window. There's also, this is interesting, a little known hack you can use to enjoy the park after hours. It's called Starlight Safari. You get to embark on a nighttime drive through the African Game Preserve and spot animals with night vision goggles. And it does not, according to this report, require a ticket.
You know, in the news, and you've probably seen this pop up on your social media feeds where they're talking about it's cheaper to go to Japan's Disneyland World, or Disneyland rather, than to come to Florida.
Orlando.
And I don't know, it's all, I think a majority of it's because of airline. I mean,
Right.
it's
Yes.
pretty expensive to get down here. And it's not, we know it's expensive at Disney, but it's for memories like this and that
Right.
sort of thing. And so when families come down to Orlando, they go, well, we go to Disney, we're just going to Disney. And there's so many other things that you could do. So I
Yes.
love these hacks
Yeah.
that you could go down there, maybe spend 1 day or 2 days, and then break it up and do these other
Yeah.
things that you can do for less price. Or
Even for
free.
locals, because
And locals.
the theme parks are, far beyond the normal areas where we all live, so they're kind of quite a distance away. But and it gives us a little bit of space between the action at the theme parks and our residents,
Which we like.
Yeah, which we do like. There's one other thing that I think is fun to mention. One of the most magical moments at any Disney park is enjoying the fireworks show.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Hotels featured along the monorail line are perfect for checking them out, like the Contemporary or Grand Floridian. They offer views of the fireworks without park admission. Insiders say the beach at the Polynesian is the best spot to watch the electrical water pageant.
That's fun to watch the go
Yeah.
on.
I'm glad you said the fireworks because they're saying that's the best time to go ride. Because everyone's off the
yeah.
rides, out of line, and watching the
yes.
fireworks, and the rides are still on, so you can go and get in every ride you want.
Man, if there is a
That's
hack,
a great point.
everybody there are people that they dedicate their lives for
Yes.
Disney
Yeah.
parks, and there's all kinds of different hacks that you could be able to do that. One thing I enjoyed growing up in Orlando is we could watch when I lived in Ocoee, which is just kind
Nearby,
of
yeah.
nearby,
Adjacent.
You could. Seriously, you could watch
Yeah.
the fireworks go off every night. It was really cool
Yeah.
to be able to see that. So we get the benefit of that. I want to go back to the fact that we think that, are you going to go down there and you have to spend all this time inside the park, and they want you to do that, which we understand.
Yes.
Other things here in Orlando to be able to check out as well. So and obviously because more and more amusement parks popping up,
Yep.
theme
Yeah.
parks rather, should I say, and
Yep.
other things to do while you're down here.
Well, think about it. It is really a once in a lifetime kind of trip for most people because of the price. It's expensive. It's an investment in time and money. And the expectation is really high because you don't want to spend all this money and all this time and then go home disappointed, right?
Not at all.
It's tough, man. Because we're connected to iDrive. We're part of, work with the iDrive Chamber for
Which
quite
is
a-
right
quite a while.
outside of Disney,
Disney,
World.
yeah.
Right outside of Disney
Right
World.
by the
Because when you
convention
say
center.
there are so many other things to do outside of Disney, there are tons of things to do. But I'm going to tell you, if you come down to Disney, you expect to spend money, and they rely on locals and impulse buy. So a lot of people, they think they're going to save a budget, but
Well,
No.
and once you get here, though, you think about all the different things to do, and maybe it's just spending, a week at Disney, which in and of itself you can do a million things within
Right.
that week
And not
still
see it all.
and not see it all. But there's Kennedy Space Center.
Yes.
You can go see a rocket launch. But that has its own admission
Yep.
to it as well. Not the rocket launch
The lunch,
part.
because this is what you just do. This.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and you can pretty much do that from several
Anywhere.
different places.
Well, you can do it from
anywhere.
my house. I
Yeah.
wanna come on by.
So there's that. I mean, there's Gatorland. There's
Yes.
Sloth
World.
is about to open. Yes, we've got the Winter Park boat tour. We have Mount Dora.
fun spot. I'm going to get
Fun
You know,
spot,
I think-
Winter Park.
Adults, I think now we're in an age where you have Airbnbs, and so you think, well,
Yes.
you go down and it's probably cheaper to do that because you think about how much money you save on food.
Yeah.
First off, you pack
yes.
your lunch.
Yes,
I know
That's
it's
a big one.
I know
Yes.
it sounds like man, who wants
Thanks,
to pack
Mom and Dad.
Pick 1 or 2 meals during the week
Yes.
that you're going to eat at the parks,
It's a great
but then
point.
pack your meals. I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
Save a ton of money.
You will save so much more money.
I saw a story recently on Disneyland in California. If you stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, you used to get early access to the
Yes.
park, and I think they've just cut that off. But
Really?
they've been getting backlash for it. So I don't know know if they've decided to change their mind on that,
They
because
should.
that's an advantage that's a motivation and incentive to stay at the hotel.
They want you to pay for it.
So
Yeah.
we want to hear, there's got to be, like I said, there's thousands of hacks, and especially if
Yes.
you're Disney folks, we want to hear that, or any kind of theme park
Yeah.
fanatic. Let us know. Flash at dailyflashshow.com. We will pass along your hacks and share them right here on the show. We still have more coming up next. It's called the power of pause, basically delayed gratification.
Okay.
And in this instantaneous world we live in, it's a great thing to check out and you can do with your family.
And we like to tell you something good. So
Yes.
we've got a great story coming up. But before we head to break, here's today's Brain Flash question.
Hey, what movie was the very first movie to earn more than $1 billion worldwide? The answer.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. Let's see if you got today's Brain Flash question right. Here is the question. What movie was the first to earn more than $1 billion worldwide? If you guess Titanic.
Yep.
You're the winner. There you go. Titanic. Man, $1 billion worldwide. It is a lot of money. All right, let's go to our guest now. In today's high-speed digital world, our instant gratification or right now culture is reshaping our brains, but not necessarily in a good way. Our next guest, Dr. Emilio Justo, has a new book titled The Power of Pause Mastering Delayed Gratification for Success. Dr. Justo, welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you so very much, Andrea. It's a delight to be here. Thank you.
Boy, this is a relevant topic now more than ever. Why is it so important for our brains to take a pause?
Oh boy, it is. I think it's critically important because, our brains now in this instant gratification epidemic that we have, we're constantly checking our phones, scrolling through social media, etc. And our brain is just being influxed with these dopamine hits all the time. And so we just don't have the time to slow down, to process, to have that cognitive behavior going on to really weigh our decision making. So I think it's just critically important to pause. I mean, think about it, Andrea. Every athlete pauses before he makes a move, right? Every wonderful financial investor waits. And as a surgeon myself, I need to pause before I make that first incision. So pausing is not inactivity. It's not laziness. It's strategic. And most importantly, it's intentional and deliberate.
That's a great point. It reminds me of the old adage, measure twice, cut once kind of thing. And it's
Yes.
so important that we do take a pause and maybe put the phones down for maybe a couple of hours or even walk away for a day if possible. What are some simple daily habits that can retrain our brain from this instant gratification?
Well, just as you said, first, I call it the intentional delay. What does that mean? Well, that means something like as simple as, when you feel motivated that you need to reach out for that phone, is just stop and pause and maybe wait 15 seconds, 30 seconds. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that you're retraining the neural pathways in your brain to be disciplined and not jump to instant gratification, if you will. By having that micro delay, that micro pause, you're basically telling your brain that you're in control, that impulse isn't controlling you, but that you're in control. So that intentional delay is great. Another little trick is just the breath, right? So when you have something that stresses you, inhale, big inhale, and then a slow exhale, and then think about what you're about to do. Don't react instantaneously. And we've all done it, of course, right? We get a nasty text or email and we want to respond right away. But no, pause, think about it, let that emotion settle.
Yeah.
Statistics show us that within 90 seconds or so, if you wait, that peak emotion will settle, and then we can think more rationally and make the appropriate decision.
That's great advice. You've created 5-minute patient builders to use in the moment. We want to get to these. The first one is the 5-minute rule.
Right, and that goes along kind of like what I was just saying, that basically when you have a trigger, is just wait 5 minutes, just 5 simple minutes. And typically in those 5 minutes, the emotion will go down. And it can be something as simple as, you're at the mall, right? And you get sucked in because you want to buy something that's really expensive.
Guilty.
And you have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you just wait those 5 minutes and think to yourself, okay, will my future self thank me? Right? When I think in the future, if I make this purchase, will I be grateful in retrospect that I had made this purchase? So give yourself 5 minutes, and that will really kind of even things out, and your brain can really process it more clearly.
Yeah, I call that my 24-hour rule. I have to wait 24 hours before I make a purchase like that. I know we briefly touched on these before, but I want to make sure we get them in as reminders. You also mentioned the breath work and micro discomfort and how to deal with those.
Yes, discomfort, I think, is actually a good thing, right? We try to avoid discomfort, but really, what are we doing when we're scrolling through social media? That we're actually taking away that discomfort, and we're constantly inundating our brain, as I mentioned earlier, with those dopamine hits. But if you just pause and give yourself that discomfort of even of boredom, right?
Yeah.
Boredom seems to have a negative connotation in our society, but that boredom, that friction, is where mastery occurs, right? Or think about when we have those breakthrough moments. Is it when we're speeding around trying to make rash decisions? No, those breakthrough moments come when we're in the shower, when we're walking around the block, when we're just simply sitting there quietly. And I think quiet is the key. I see so many young kids who, study with all this music in the background, and they say, oh, well, this is what helps me relax. Well, I don't know. I kind of challenge that idea, because I think having stillness and quiet is really better for the brain to process things more clearly.
Dr. Justo, we'll have to leave it at that. For more information and to get a copy of the book, The Power of Pause, please visit DrEmilioJusto.com. Thank you so much. We're going to make sure we post this interview on our website at dailyflashshow.com. Some great advice.
I love
Mitch.
what he had said too about we have to be uncomfortable, and I've followed that. Is that that's the only time we grow, because it's either pain or gain. If you're able to do something, that pain helps out. Great advice there.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson along with Mitch English. We've got some trending stories to share with you right now. The role of grandparents is rapidly changing. When grandma and grandpa take on more of the childcare, the family dynamic can drastically change. American grandparents in previous generations were sources of wisdom, support, and love, but caregiver was not on the top of their to-do list. Experts say America is entering the era of peak grandparenting.
Interesting.
Nearly 60% of grandparents say they have provided child care for a grandchild, and more than 40% took care of a grandkid at least once a week. The family dynamic becomes something more transactional, the experts say, and grandparents become a child care convenience. People who planned on a leisurely life of retirement become parents again, as many take on a majority of the child rearing responsibilities, which I'm sure can create a little bit of resentment.
I am waiting. It's going to be a long time before I'm a before I'm pop. I cannot wait. And I keep telling my kids, but then I'm like, I don't want to pressure them. I was like, listen, you have a full-time babysitter. If you just have a kid, I'll watch them or whatever. And I don't think they believe me, but I will. With that, though, I think we are seeing more and more, as you just mentioned, the whole story was about multi-generational, and it makes more sense. I mean, it's expensive to to live on your own. First off, you got to make sure you're retired and you're ready for that. But then also, if you have any kind of elderly care that you have to take care of. And so it makes sense. And so that trade comes in when you're like, listen, we're giving a house to live, and all you got to do is maybe watch our kids every once in a while. And I'm sure a majority of the grandparents are like, all right, I'll do it. it's a no-win to me. I get to hang out with the kids.
Right. I think it's a positive, especially in other cultures where they do have multi-generational households. And here in the U.S., that's not so typical. But I think most parents would rather have their kids being watched on a daily basis by their own parents than having to spend thousands on daycare and have a stranger take care of them.
And the one thing about the Latino culture is that they are about family.
Yes.
And I love that, where it's like, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I think, you know, me, it's like, well, what am I going to do with mom and dad? And that sort of thing. They already had that plan before they even moved out of the house.
But I can see where the resentment can start to settle
Certainly,
in,
yeah.
especially if you're sort of expected to be the built-in babysitter, right?
Yeah.
And really,
Taking advantage, sure.
You've already taken care of your kids for 20 plus years, and now you've got a new set of kids to take care of.
And what you do to retaliate, grandparents, you spoil that kid, the grandkid, so then when you're not around, he's a hellion around.
And you hop them up with a ton of sugar.
All kinds of sugar again. We know all the tricks.
Yes.
Never before seen footage of a tribe. This is amazing. In the Amazon, we're talking about the actual Amazon, not the thing online, has actually surfaced during a recent interview on the Lex Friedman podcast. Here is the man who's captured the images explaining this experience.
This is the moment. This is us running when they're out. They're coming down the beach. Yeah. We're just. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You see how many thousands of butterflies. But look at the way they move. Look at the way they point. Look at him with his bow. Wow.
All right, author and photographer Paul Rosoli has actually spent the last 2 decades working in the Amazon. Now, in that clip that we just showed you, the tribe seen through a flock of butterflies. Couldn't see them too much on your monitor, but they are there. The men move with coordinated caution. They eventually put down their weapons and return to their boat. Researchers estimate that nearly 200 uncontacted tribes actually exist in the rainforest across Brazil and Peru. Direct contact could actually be deadly. And Paul said that he was very cautious about keeping an eye on their bows and arrows. But more importantly, although that they have protection, the weapons are actually, and his guides were using no match for the tribe's aim because they're so good. But here's the thing, you're bringing disease. You're bringing, if you had, let's just say, just the common cold, if he went any closer to this and had made contact with him, you could really be messing up this tribe.
You could wipe out an entire tribe in the Amazon or elsewhere. And they had a story about one man who contacted one of these tribes, and I can't remember if it was in Brazil or another location, but he wanted to bring the Christian religion to the tribe, and he was killed. And they never recovered his body. And people will say, leave them alone.
There's a reason why, nature or whatever has put them there for that long. And it actually is good for us to see if the world ends. I think these people are going to be the only ones surviving too, right?
Probably they're the only ones that know how to survive. But with their bows and arrows, the guy was saying, we were running. At some point we decided to turn around, but they could have killed us right then and there.
100% with those, like you said, bows and arrows. I mean, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just look at that. Except they have better aim, right? All that.
Right.
Really, but thinking that. Maybe there might have been somebody else who might have ever caught it, but just to see that another civilization has just been left alone, and what we don't know so far about all these
and
different places.
As far as we know, they don't live by one of these things.
That'd be funny if they were all there and then they all pulled it out there and started taking pictures of them. We have more news, entertainment, pretty much everything in between. That's coming your way right here on Daily Flash.
Imagine taking selfies
there. Don't they believe like their soul?
Yeah.
This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mitch English.
And I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. Before we do anything, we want to check in with our social media host, James Alexander, and our stations across the nation. James.
Hey, yeah, those 219 great stations across this great country of ours, the American Forces Network, and you can find us on your social media. If you want to stream, you can find us everywhere. Now, if you really want to know where we are in your neck of the woods, go to dailyflashshow.com and click on where to watch.
Very nice.
Yeah, we'll have some fun. So mentioning that, our local friends today come from Honolulu,
Hey.
Hawaii. Not Hawaii. Hawaii.
With the
That's how
V?
it's pronounced. Yep, it's pronounced with a V.
Aloha.
And you know, aloha is a law. All city officials or officials must use aloha.
Oh, I like that.
Aloha.
Kind of keep into
Yeah.
the tradition. I like that a lot. I like the culture too, I guess.
Yeah, mahalo, James. Mahalo.
I love that.
That's awesome.
We are a nation, our president has a book called The Art of the Deal,
Yes.
right? Okay. Apparently, we need to either read it or it just needs to go by the wayside because Americans have actually, according to research, given up on haggling. Remember, it was like an art to haggling, right?
Yes.
And I was thinking about this weekend. We went over to Mount Dora, and I was telling Liza about this great flea market they have out there,
Yes.
right? Called Redditor's. And at Redditor's, when you go to flea markets, that sort of thing, it's expected to haggle, right?
Yes.
You're almost, you don't pay. It's like they know. Well, coming to find out that people are now feeling a little bit more, uncomfortable with haggling. They're okay with doing it. And what they're saying is because people are all right with going online, on Amazon, buying things. Even things like self-checkout. When you check out online, you're doing everything by yourself.
Yeah.
So the art of the deal is kind of like you're just taking, you don't feel like haggling. And to me, sometimes it is a pain in the butt. But just know, like when you buy a car, even think like with Carvana,
Yes.
you don't haggle at all, right? You just, that's the price.
That's the price.
That's what it is. I think
Yeah.
Same goes with Tesla.
Tesla, yes. Yeah, one
It's
price.
a base
off
price
the-
no matter
off the-
what.
Off the lot, yep.
So do you guys still haggle? Do you like haggling about things, and what do you haggle on?
Well, my other half, Alan,
Yeah.
he is a haggler.
Okay.
Anytime
Good.
we check out anywhere, can we just round up? Can we round down?
Good.
Can we get one of those for free? And I marvel at the success that he has just by friendly joking around about, haggling. And it works for him every single time. I never haggle, but he does,
same
and
way.
I'm inspired by that.
It is an art, though, right?
Yeah, I don't do it locally because there's not many opportunities to do it. So I get it. You go into the
Carvana.
flea market
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So I get that part. But business-wise, I do. If I'm working
Okay.
with a company overseas, I go back and forth with them. I need the price lower. I
You
need the price
have
lower. I
to.
need the price lower.
Yeah.
Because they give you what they think you're going to go for, but the price could be actually lower. You just got to ask for it.
And I think
Yeah.
Europe and places like that, that's how their commerce pretty much has always been.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
just haggling. Like, there's no set price or whatever. And again, it goes back to like the flea market. They're expected to
Right.
do that
Yeah.
haggling. So you're probably great.
I think when it comes to hotels or resorts or maybe even Airbnbs, or if you're looking for, independent living for seniors, whatever it is, there is a price that you can negotiate. Everything is really negotiable.
It really
but those
is.
things specifically.
So speaking of hotels, so I always tell people this: if you go online and book through the hotel's website or however you book it, to me or whatever. When you get to the hotel, be super nice and see if you can get upgrades. So I mean
Yes.
that's a way
No,
of
you're right.
haggling, but you get
That's a great
so like, hey,
point.
I booked through you guys or da 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 da.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a bad day. It would be nice if I can get that massive presidential suite.
The subtle art of
The
haggling.
thing about it, they want you to return.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
you feel good, like, well, I got a great day, you don't feel like, I got those suckers. Never really happens. If you have a good experience and you got a great, you're going to want to go back. I think out of anything, I think I do that at car rental places.
Yeah.
And I always ask, just first time, hey,
Yeah.
you got any
It
upgrades
doesn't
for
hurt
me?
to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Because a lot of times it's easier for them. It's like, man, we got a bunch of these. Small cars, but I have a bunch of extra ones. I need to load them off.
Write the review. Take the time, write the review. That's the key.
Wait, before or do you
After,
say, hey, I've reviewed
after,
you guys?
Do the review. Yep.
Okay, well, smart. We want to know other haggling ideas. Let us know. Flash at dailyflashshow.com. The Scene with Doreen's right around the corner, and we're also going to get your day off the right way with Tell Me Something Good.
Yeah,
Coming up.
today's talk, tomorrow's trend.
Are you ready to laugh? Because today on The Scene with Doreen, I have legendary filmmaker, director, and producer David Zucker. He's responsible for cult classics like Top Secret, Naked Gun, and of course, Airplane. It's celebrating its 45th birthday this year, and I can't wait to dig in. Check it out.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
2025 marks the 45th birthday of your hit movie Airplane, and to think it almost didn't happen. It was rejected more than, 200 times before it got picked up by Paramount?
We had a script, and it was turned down by every studio, and one guy happened to hear about it. His name was Michael Eisner at Paramount, and he thought, hey, this sounds like a good idea, a comedy on an airplane, and I'm sure he probably thought it was like Animal House on an airplane, but then, we came in and we told him, no, this is going to be a comedy without comedians, and it's going to be directed by not only a first-time director, but 3 directors at once. Yes. But it worked, and in fact, the scene that you played was on the first day of shooting.
Really?
Airplane. It was the I Am Serious and Don't Call Me Shirley, which became, a kind of a famous joke. Paramount had it in our contract because we were first-time directors that they could fire us after 2 weeks.
Oh.
So we scheduled our producer, John Davison, very wisely scheduled that on the first day. And Jeff Katzenberg from the studio called us up immediately and said, don't worry, you're not going to be fired.
You ever been in a cockpit before?
No, sir, I've never been up in a plane before.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
A lot of the actors who eventually signed on were kind of hesitant to come on.
Right, Peter Graves.
Yeah.
He, nobody had ever done this before. And, when he first read the script, he just threw it across the room, we heard. And he said, this is the worst piece of trash I've ever read. But somehow we convinced him to do it. And Robert Stack wanted to know who else was coming to the party,
Right.
what other actors were in.
Right.
Leslie Nielsen said to his agent, we found out later, don't tell those guys this, but I would pay them to do this movie.
Oh, well, I heard you didn't bring him on because he was not a comedian and you wanted somebody that was played it straight, but he sure liked to play around on the set, though, with fart machines.
He was a prankster, and so he brought a fart machine on the set, and pretty soon everybody on the set wanted one, and our assistant director said, hey, you can't, you can't bring these on the set anymore. People, when they try to imitate our style, probably less successful because they are not aware of the rules, the 15 rules.
I love this idea in Master Crash, a crash course in spoof comedy.
I wanted to do this Master Crash so that people know that there's an actual method to it, because people think this is easy and they think that because you're a fan, you can do it. Well, the guy at my dry cleaners is a big fan of Naked Gun, but it doesn't mean he can make one of them. We learned over, 40 years, actually more than that. And we learned, not because we were so great, but because we made mistakes. And you learn through making mistakes about what works and what doesn't.
Make sure to go to mastercrash.com to check out David's Master Crash, a crash course in spoof comedy. Also, pick up your copy of his award-winning books, Surely You Can't Be Serious, The True Story of Airplane, and Before the Invention of Smiling, The Incredible Journey of the Zucker Family from Horse and Buggy to Indoor Plumbing. And of course, follow David on Facebook, Instagram, and X at The David Zucker.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. If you want to hear more of our wonderful conversation, visit here. Watch The Scene with Doreen here at the Daily Flash each week. See you next time.
Up next, Joanne Butler, editor-in-chief of Life Minute TV, shares her latest beauty must-haves for healthier-looking skin.
Hey everyone, well, I'm going to tell you about my new little skincare secret here. It's Biossance new Squalane Plus Growth Factor Firming Moisturizer. Now, if you're already moisturizing, this is just the next evolution because it does so much more than a basic moisturizer. Truly one of the most innovative moisturizer and skincare actually launches of the year. What makes it so special and different, it uses ingredients found naturally in the body that actually sends signals to your skin cells, encouraging them to do more of what they're already naturally doing, regenerating, and, if you will, biohacking your collagen growth factor. It's clinically proven to improve hydration, visibly boost elasticity and support the skin barrier. In clinical testing, actually 90% noticed healthier bounce and smoother, more refined skin, and 87% said their skin felt firmer. It absorbs beautifully too. You'll feel and you'll see the difference as soon as you put it on. I've been using it every morning. It just feels so good and amazing. Just goes on so smoothly. And it's ideal for everyday use and just perfect for normal to dry skin. $64 at bioscience.com and well worth the spend.
New Intuit data shows how Americans are hitting reset on their finances in 2026. Intuit financial advocate Giovanna Gigi Gonzalez joins us now with more.
Financial resolutions are always popular this time of year, just like hitting the gym or eating healthier. But what stood out is how focused people are on their financial wellness going into 2026. Of the thousands surveyed, an astonishing 93% said that they plan to transform how they manage their money this year, with the top 3 priorities being increasing savings, paying down debt, and boosting income. Another interesting data point, 54% of Americans say that they have financial regrets from last year, and they are using the new year as a reset to get back on track. Financial wellness is about building a personal system that helps you feel confident and in control of your money. And no, control doesn't mean cutting out all the fun. It means spending with intention so you can enjoy today while still making progress towards your goals. The money routines that work are the ones where you start small and can stay consistent. Tip number 1, make a money date. Set up a weekly money check-in with your finances so you feel familiar with them and not stressed out about them. Review last week's spending and make note of how you're doing with saving and paying off debt. Tip 2, set one money goal at a time. Instead of trying to knock them all out at once, try tackling them one at a time. Making these as specific as possible is really going to help too. For example, set a specific amount of how much you want to have in savings at the end of the month. Tip 3, spend on what matters most to you. I'll share a personal example. This year, I'm focused on improving my sleep, so spending on things like a sound machine and sleep gummies makes sense, but I'll hold back on spending anything that doesn't truly matter to me, like a new phone. Lastly, let's acknowledge money is a primary stressor for many right now. A lot of people feel like they're just getting by. But Intuit survey shows Americans are optimistic. Even with rising stress, people still feel confident about their financial future and are motivated to make a change. And it's easier to make changes when you have access to education and support. That's where Intuit comes in with tools and trusted experts to help people feel financially confident. For more tips, visit intuit.com/blog.
All right, and moving right along, the struggle is definitely real when it comes to paying for health insurance. Wendell Potter, he joins us now with more information on the steady rise of healthcare. Wendell, thank you for joining us. First off, though, why are these healthcare costs continuing to rise?
Because we've allowed big corporations to take over our healthcare system, and I work for 2 of the biggest ones, Cigna and Humana. These companies have become giant corporations, among the biggest companies in America. And lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling for the breakup of some of these companies because they've gotten so big. And they are the reason why we have to pay so much in premiums, but also out of pocket, and why so many of us are experiencing delays and denials of care because we're not getting coverage for what our doctors say we need.
You know, we hear about these issues and we sit back, and a lot of people probably ask the question, what can be done about this?
We need to make sure that lawmakers are holding these companies to account. This week, the lawmakers in Congress are hauling the executives of 5 big insurance companies to hearings, which is historic. It's unprecedented. So reach out to your members of Congress and tell your stories about delays and denials of care. Americans are waking up to realize that the biggest problem are these giant insurance corporations like CVS, which owns Aetna, Cigna, Humana, United Health Group. So reach out to your members of Congress and let them know that you support their efforts to rein in this industry.
All right, you do have a voice, and for more information, you can visit centerforhealthanddemocracy.org.
Looking for makeup tips for skin that's evolving? Professional makeup artist with IT Cosmetics joins us with ways to enhance radiance at any age. Erica, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I love IT Cosmetics, by the way.
I do too, and I'm so happy to be here.
As a professional makeup artist, what looks are trending right now, and what are the must-have products to achieve them?
So radiant skin is in, especially in the winter where we're kind of losing our radiance. We want to put it back to the skin. So we're here to talk about the IT Cosmetics Doolittle Sheer Tint Face Balm. This is a 4-in-1 product, and it's going to give you everything you need for instant radiant skin. I'm so excited to share this with you.
So what makes this product different than other products you've used before, Erica?
This starts its life as a solid serum. It's 92% skincare. So it's not just makeup with a little bit of skincare, it's skincare, then the pigments are put into it. So when you put this on, and I'm gonna demo on Sarah, you're gonna see just instant hydration on the skin, and it just melts right in. It's going to hydrate up to 24 hours of hydration, has collagen peptide, hyaluronic acid, vitamin E. It's a 4-in-1, basically like everything you need for instant radiant skin, especially on the go.
You make it look so easy. I love it. Where can we find it?
This is exclusively at Ulta, and it comes in 15 flexible, really easy to wear shades, and it's $34.
Okay, Erica, you mentioned something really good there, all the shade options. What other tips should we consider for when it comes to achieving this look and specifically picking out the best shade for our skin tone?
And here's the thing, you can't mess it up. So I'm doing the medium neutral here, but if you're a shade or two off, because it's skincare, it'll melt into the skin, and that's why there's 15 shades that are mega flexible, and you will easily find your shade. And if it's a shade off, it's still right.
We can make it work. I love it. Erica Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people go for more information?
You can go to itcosmetics.com and find your favorite shades, and I am so happy to share this with you.
Awesome, Erica, thank you. We're going to post this information on our website at dailyflashshow.com/FMI. You can also find the products at Ulta.
For generations, mankind has depended on one sacred device, the home television, a portal to laughter, heartbreak, and that one weird British baking show you swore you'd only watch once. But after 5 long days of labor, housework, and endless carpool lines, one question still haunts humanity. What do you binge this weekend?
Fear not, the experts are here. Join Daily Flash every Friday for Streaming for the Weekend. Because life's too short for bad TV. Streaming for the Weekend every Friday, only on Daily Flash.
Streaming for the weekend.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash.
Yes, we always want to leave you on a high note, so that's why we want to tell you something good.
All right, Jackson, do you love a good love story as much as I do?
I love a good love story.
Well, this is a really, really good one. You're going to love it. After 70 years, 70 of marriage, a Virginia couple finally got to have the wedding they've always dreamed of. It was beautiful. When they eloped way back in the 1950s, money was pretty tight and life moved pretty fast, so the big celebration was put on hold for 7 decades.
Oh my God, oh Dollywood, are you kidding me? Now in their 90s, family members surprised them with a full ceremony complete with a white dress, flowers, music, and vows spoken in front of the people that they loved the most. The couple said the day wasn't about regrets or what they missed, but about celebrating a lifetime of commitment, partnership, and sticking together through everything. Also, it's a reminder that some dreams don't expire, and sometimes the best moments in life are worth waiting for.
And I bet you they probably having 70. Wow, that's a long time. You think being with somebody 70 years to have a wedding and loving the fact that the whole family got involved. That's probably what they would have wanted anyway, you know. And back then, you know, you had a lot of guys. They were about to go off to war, and they would marry until they didn't have actual weddings, and they were fine with it. But you want to celebrate that, especially after 70 years. You know, it's more than just an anniversary. Make it a wedding.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, because you think about it. Sometimes I think that we do things in reverse. Like we get married early on, then we have kids, and then we celebrate anniversaries. But what if you followed this example and you waited to get married to celebrate with the kids you had and the family you've created? Yeah,
that's where the celebration is altogether.
Yeah.
We hope that kind of put a nice little bow on your day there, because it sure did ours. We want to thank you for spending time with us today.
Yes, for more information on any of today's stories, be sure to visit our website, dailyflashshow.com.
All right, thank you so much. Always, our website's waiting for you. You check us out there or, of course, on social media. Y'all take care. We'll see you when we look at you. Bye-bye.
Be good, everybody.